I've worked in Hackney for about a year now, and I started as an agency worker, and I fell in love with the place. So actually I've now decided to stay permanent, and been given a really good job opportunity. I think Hackney is a really culturally diverse place to work. I think on a professional level you've got amazing access to managerial support, it's great teamwork, you've got great colleagues. I think that the career opportunities and the job opportunities are really sort of available for you, and I think it's a very supportive place to work as a professional.
Oh, I love it. I really love it as a job. In terms of I'm interested in people, and it's a cliche, but actually helping and changing people's lives, it does actually make a huge difference.
Yeah, and I think I both live and work in Hackney, and I think it's a really diverse borough to work in. I think it's very up and coming. I think it's an interesting place to be. I think it opens your eyes to a lot of kind of different social situations and different communities that live in Hackney.
Yeah, I think sometimes we can be quite secluded in our lives. Like, you're going to have your network of friends, and you have these kind of people that you hang out with, and I think you can experience difference, and that could be ethnically, financially, that kind of difference that you see people it expands your mind. It makes you actually think about the world differently. So I've been in Hackney as a social worker for 7 odd years now, and I started as a student. And I think the main reason why I've kind of stayed here is because they've invested in me. They've seen obviously something, and I've kept developing. They kept giving me opportunities. I've worked with in projects around GP integration. I've done kind of projects around day services, things like that, and ended up getting a senior social work job. And now I'm in this new role, the consultant social work job. So I think that recognition from senior management and that progression and investment in staff is something that's really kind of kept me here. And that combined with a borough that I just love to be in, and I just really enjoy it as a place, the diversity of it, the energy of it, and that vibrancy that you get with a real community. It's a new thing that kind of senior management and kind of consultation with staff in Hackney have created this new role. Because I think historically in adult services there's been a bit of a marginalisation of social work as its own kind of identity. In the last few years they're trying to really kind of rebuild it as it's an important part of the adult social care process, from it's being a kind of a children's or mental health role. And this is kind of part of it where staff who might not want to go into the management route can kind of progress in terms of career. So we're going to be doing things in terms of the, it's called the academy, but basically where we'll take on responsibility for, say, like newly qualified social workers, practice development, trying to get theory back into practice a bit more, and kind of act as a kind of clinical expert in terms of like the practice, so taking on complex cases and co-working it.
I personally think one thing that I really picked up on when starting with Hackney, and it's something we were actually talking about earlier on today, is there's a real sense of the managers on all levels are really accessible at all times. So actually, if you want to go and speak to them about a case, or if you want a little bit of advice, or if you're not too sure where to go, you have the managers there that are available to support you, but are actually really engaged with what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve and what your team's trying to achieve as well. So I think I really sort of noticed that when I started with Hackney, just the accessibility of management and actually sort of that sort of open door culture, really. I think working in a hospital setting at the moment, I think it's just the way that the multidisciplinary teams work with each other. I think it's really, really proactive. I think as a social worker, you're very valued as a member of the multidisciplinary team, which I think maybe a few years ago, it was very, very sort of health-led and consultant-led, whereas actually as a social worker here in Hackney, working in a multidisciplinary team in the hospital, you're very, very valued. And I think that actually working in that way, it embeds a really good culture of best practice, and I think we get really good outcomes for the patients that we work with. And I think one of the lucky things that both Aleister and I have is the opportunity within our roles at the moment is to actually work with lots of different professionals, from health, from therapy, from mental health, and we're all working together. We all have the same objective in mind to actually improve that person's life and to get them either more independent in the community or discharged safely from hospital. And I think within Hackney it really gives you that opportunity to actually work as a multidisciplinary team, but also feel a respected member of a multidisciplinary team. And that really kind of values the social work profession.
And having a bit more of a kind of co-ownership of cases, which I think sometimes social workers in the past have been a bit left on their own in other local authorities and just generally in the work, so having that kind of collaborative way of working.
And I think it's quite an exciting opportunity for Hackney because it's a role that hasn't been done before in adult social care. So I think we're quite fortunate in the sense that we're coming in at the beginning and we've got that opportunity to help develop and shape the role. But also, like Aleister said, we actually get to work with social workers within Hackney to actually support them with managing their work and to develop their practice, which again is really, really important. I think it kind of demonstrates what Hackney is all about. It's about sort of developing the workforce and making sure they have the support networks around them to really do the best that they can when in times that can be quite difficult or challenging.